This video is on electrophilic addition making ethanol from ethene. So the overall equation to make ethanol from ethene with water is ethene plus water makes ethanol with a sulfuric acid catalyst. But it actually occurs in two steps, and the first step is an electrophilic addition reaction mechanism. So what happens is the sulfuric acid actually adds on to the ethene, forming this large intermediate, and then that intermediate will then separately react with water, forming the ethanol. So we're going to focus on, we're going to look at the mechanism of the ethene plus the sulfuric acid forming the intermediate. So here we've got our ethene molecule, our sulfuric acid molecule. So as in all electrophilic addition reactions, the double bond opens up and attacks the hydrogen. It attacks this hydrogen because this hydrogen is partially positive because it's with a very electronegative oxygen, which is partially negative. Now, as we know, hydrogen can only be bonded to one thing, so this is going to cause the bond to break. So both these electrons will go towards the oxygen, which leaves us with two substances. So we end up with these two substances. We've got the hydrogen, see the hydrogen's added on there, so zoom out a little bit. Oops. The hydrogen is added on, like here, so there's that hydrogen added on. You can see that both the electrons have gone towards the oxygen, there they are, it's got the lone pair, you've got negative charge there, positive charge up here. If you're just coming to this video without watching the first video on electrophilic addition, I recommend you do that first. Okay, so this oxygen here with the negative charge, the lone pair is going to be attracted towards the positive carbon, the carbocation. So we draw a curly arrow coming from here, going towards this carbon. Okay, and it forms this intermediate. So you can see you have this intermediate here with the sulfuric acid added onto the ethene. You would never be expected to name this, but for your information, this is ethyl hydrogen sulfate. Ethyl hydrogen sulfate. So in green, I've just drawn this in its structural formula. So here is our ethyl hydrogen sulfate, which is our intermediate. So this takes part in another reaction which you do not need to know the mechanism for, but you do need to know the equation for. So it's quite simple. You just add some water, H2O. And what's going to happen is we're going to get our alcohol formed, and the catalyst, the sulfuric acid, is going to get reformed. So we can see that the ethanol has now been formed and the sulfuric acid has been reformed. So if we look back at the initial equation, the overall equation, the one up here, we can see we added water to ethene, making ethanol with a sulfuric acid catalyst. But what actually took place was first the sulfuric acid was added across the bond, forming our ethyl hydrogen sulfate, and then the ethyl hydrogen sulfate, the intermediate, reacted with water, forming ethanol and reforming the sulfuric acid catalyst.